Make them say,
what's up?
We back again on the Cruise Fantasy Podcast, Dynasty Podcast. Got my boy Ian Braddock with me. Say what's up.
What's up? I'm whispering because I'm the running back whisperer. That was lame. But hey, what's up? It's Ian, man. Back again with my cuz, the craft man. Missing old Matty Pooh. He'll be back soon, but he brought in the heavy guns to hold it over. What's going on, cousin?
Man, just hanging out tonight. Just wanting to talk about some of these folks who had a good day over the weekend. If you had Joe Mixon, you probably won. If you played against them, you probably lost. Sorry for you, but we're just gonna hit this thing up, man. Just getting excited to do it. I wish Matt was here. He's the hostess with the mostest, and just trying to fill some big shoes tonight. But like we always say when we start off, man, 5-star review. Tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your kids.
That's
tell
right.
everybody you can about the pod, and we're gonna get this thing big. We're working on it. We're trying to get y'all as much info as we can get out on a weekly basis to help y'all win some championships. So, Ian, you got anything to say about how your leagues are going? You know, how you feeling at this point in the season?
Oh man, so I'm actually feeling better at this point in the season, I think, than I've felt really ever. I'm running 3 teams right now, 2 redrafts in a dynasty, and I'm top 5 in all of them, and that's the best outcome I've had. And it's going good right now, man. And there's no telling anything can happen in fantasy football, but right now, dude, it's I'm feeling good, dude. I'm planning for the playoffs and hoping for the best, dude. Long as injuries is a huge thing, but I've been pretty good on that thing, man. What about you, dude? How you feeling about your place in the world of the fake shit?
I mean, I'm feeling all right. I'm in the playoff hunt in all of my leagues. 6-3 in a couple and 4-5 in a couple, and just right there fighting tooth and nail to stay in there. But I got one league where I drafted Jonathan Taylor number 1, and I just want to say to everybody who drafted Jonathan Taylor number 1, y'all are probably just like me in a bad spot right now. If y'all are good fantasy football players, if y'all can make up for that, because I've been going back and forth thinking about it, and I think we all drafted him, and I think we all could have done better with anybody else in the first round, probably the first 2 rounds if we just took anybody. But yep, got a couple leagues that made a couple trades in, looking good, and then my main league, my Yahoo league, where you're in first, I'm just putting together free agents every week, just injuries. I'm not even a lot of bad draft picks, like I said, Jonathan Taylor, people like that. Like I'm fighting to stay in there. That's the league. I have got to make the playoffs because you're going to give me hell if I don't.
I will. I will, Commish.
But I'm going to go ahead and shoot it off to you, man. Again, like the props again. You're in first. You won the championship last year, and you barely lost the championship the year before.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about this for the episode, and we were thinking about doing this as an episode, but I ain't gonna. It's just gonna be a quick tip, man. Tell me what makes you great at fantasy football. Like what? Just make it quick. Just a little statement about how you draft and how you plan at this point in the season.
Well, put simply, it all comes down to the draft and what I do going into the draft. So it is what makes me so successful in my eyes is I go into it going running back heavy. And I catch a lot of shit about it a lot of times, but in my eyes, I get my running backs, first 2, 3, 4 rounds. And the reason I do that is because when it comes to this point in the season and your receivers are hurt, you need a quarterback, you need this, that, and the other, and you got Eckler, Saquon, and Fournette sitting there, you got some trade value now. You know what I mean? I can get two great receivers for one of these running backs. You know what I mean? Two receivers that are first, second rounders. And so I think that is the main thing, dude. And just having the depth at the running back position, I think is the key to success in my eyes, honestly, because that's what I've been doing, and it's seemed to have been working, man. And in so many words, I think that's the biggest takeaway from that.
Yeah, so you definitely go in trying to get them running backs, and I've always been on the side of running backs. We play in a half PPR, so take this as you will for everybody who plays in full PPR. The scoring is different. Receivers might mean a little more. So this is kind of applying to the half PPR redraft, draft, and I say it every year. I know exactly how he's going to approach it. He's going to draft 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds. He's not going to get a quarterback early. He's not going to get a tight end early. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how anybody picks as far as rosters go. You got to pick the right guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no matter you have, 4 great running backs on your team, man, and if you pick the wrong ones, you pick the wrong ones, dude. And it's hard to know who the right ones are, but I just, I go into it and I think about the guys that are fucking hungry, the guys that, need a job and want a job and have the talent. You know what I mean? And it just, it's years and years of studying and acquisitions and trading and losing, man. I lost a lot too. So, it doesn't come without its woes.
What do you look for in running backs? Because it seems like you always get that's why we call you running back whisperer. You are always picking the ones that they seem to stay healthy all year. They seem to just perform. What is your rule on injuries the previous year and contracts? Like, do you want players who are on their first contract who haven't got paid yet, or do you? I know you've told me you watch the NFL Top 100 and you really judge what other players say about them.
Yeah.
But just tell me, like, how do you situate one running back from the other? Just saying, I do want this guy, and I'm not worried about his injuries from previous year or whatnot.
Yeah. So when it comes to the injury part, that's a good question. So I don't pick players that, like, if it's a upper body injuries are not as bad, but in my rule of thumb is 2 years removed from a lower body injury. So if, like Gus Edwards got the stuff last year, you know what I mean? He's come back this year. That's why I didn't get him. But next year, I think, he'd be more on my radar. J.K. Dobbins, people like that. 2 years removed off a lower body serious injury. You know what I mean? Because usually the next year they come back and they kind of do all right, but they're still having troubles with it. And then they get a whole nother offseason, just like Saquon. That's why I was high on him this year, because he's 2 years removed off of that major injury. And also I look at the way they hold themselves off the football field. For instance, like Derrick Henry. How many interviews have you seen him do? He doesn't talk about it. He goes out there and do it. Same with Saquon. And when it comes to the contracts, I don't pick players. I don't like the players that have just signed a contract that have for sure money, because they get a little, they're like, okay, like I can relax. I can calm down, because a wise man once told me, and this wise man is Matt Collins from the Raiders. I saw him on Good Morning Football, and he said, so a little thing on him, he only eats meat all through the week. And on game days, he's a vegetarian. And they asked him, they were like, well, aren't you going to be hungry? His response was, hungry dogs run faster. So that comes down to hungry as for the check, man. And if you're hungry for that check and you're working for a job like Josh Jacobs, he didn't get the 5th year. Yeah, but he wants to play football. He's not hurt. He's still a good running back. He was hungry for that check, and he's going to get a job. And so that's kind of like the few keys to success on that. And then when it comes to wide receivers, man, I mean, it's up in the air, dude. There's so many of them out there. It's hard to even tell. But your running backs are so important because they get more touches every game than any player on the field, and they're vital. They really are. And I try to stay away from committees and just get the workhorses, man. But yeah, it's paying off a little bit.
Yeah,
Got
I
me
know
a
this.
Bakari jersey.
Uh, whatever, man. I just bought another jersey, a Travis Etienne jersey this week. I'm gonna collect mine next year, but
You
we
get
weren't.
to pick a jersey eventually.
I didn't think we were gonna make the episode all about this, but it seems like a good topic, helping out some folks. But
Yeah.
with wide receivers, it seems like in the first couple rounds this year, usually you're getting, like last year, you had your Debos, your I'm not thinking clearly right now, but there's a lot of sleepers that you had
Okay.
last year coming in, like you drafted really late and they ended up making a huge impact for your team. But I was talking to Noah earlier today, and it really seems like this draft and this year it's pretty much been the top couple guys that have won people games, and there hadn't been really any blow up like 10th round draft picks or 11th round draft picks in your draft. So like it makes more sense what you're talking about with them running backs. Just get them. Your wide receivers, you can figure one out that, and I know you said with your wide receivers that you like drafting the number 2s on teams, or you used to.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I like to draft the wide receiver 2s with wide receiver 1 upside. So those are the guys that have great talent and great offenses around them. And you got to think, man, when any offense goes into a game, you got to think about the defense they're playing against. You got to think about guys like Marshawn Lattimore and Jalen Ramsey and these guys. And these guys are going to be covering your number ones, for the most part. And you got to get those guys like Mike Williams and your Jerry Jeudy's and
Gabe Davis.
Yeah, you got to get. Well, he kind of is booming bust right now, but that's just because Josh Allen does his own thing, and
Devontae
but yeah,
Smith is
yeah,
another
dude,
one that comes to mind.
yeah, and so I just shoot for the the wide receivers with high upside. I don't pick players. I try not to pick players on losing teams. You know what I mean? Unless it's a rookie running back. Running backs they can break the mold when it comes to that, but yeah, you just go for the good teams and who they're getting thrown to, and you just got to watch football, man. You just got to watch them play, and you learn the most from seeing them out on the field and how they react to the things that happen. If you miss a pass, if they're out there and it's a wide open pass and they miss it and they're just like whatever, then it's you kind of don't want that guy, or if their teammate gets hurt and they just kind of walk around, walk over them, not even caring. I don't like guys with bad attitudes like that. And so it's just, it just comes down to just watching football, man. And you just got to know your players, not just the stats.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, this year, the wide receivers that went in the first and second round, they're all hitting. A lot of the running backs have stayed healthy. This first round, we haven't talked about it much. There's been a lot of injuries this year, but for the most part, your first and second rounders have been reasonably healthy. Jonathan Taylor's had a couple injuries. Jamar Chase has been hurt a little bit. He's been out a couple games, but most of all, I think everybody should be pretty happy with how everything turned out in their first couple rounds. But
yeah,
I was sitting here, trying to prove your point about some of the wide receiver 2s that you could have got later on. Jalen Waddle's one of them. Tyler Lockett, he's always there. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you can pick your poison with them. Higgins, You can always go for a T. Higgins type.
Yep.
So these are kind of the players you're talking about. Good offenses, second receivers, and like we said, you said about Mike Williams. You know, you like him too. I mean, even Brandon Ayuk at this
Yeah.
point has been great. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
And Adam Thielen kind of falls there too. You know what I mean? He's not been amazing, but you know, he's still, you know, a wide receiver too, and he's kind of touchdown dependent. But yeah, dude, there's a bunch of them out there, man. And you just kind of, if you go the strategy, you know, the route that I go, then that's how you kind of have to go with your receivers, man. And just in my eyes, you know, there's three receivers at any point going on the field and one running back. So, you know, there's a lot less of those running backs out there, especially the good ones. And you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I prioritize them, and it seemed to work out. You know.
yeah. But like, I'm gonna hit these. You ain't got to say nothing about them, but just to like prove my point or just get my point across that these first rounders hit. These are the top 10 wide receivers this year. These guys were all drafted in the first 2 rounds. Tyreek, Cooper Kupp, Diggs, Jefferson, Waddle. Waddle might have been third or fourth. Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase. I mean, you can't really ask for
Yeah.
more as like predicting before
Right.
the season, predicting where these guys would finish because it is like spot on
It
and
is
you're
the only
probably
one.
happy about it.
The only one. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The only one that you know, because me and you had a conversation about this in the off season. You asked me on there. You asked me who I thought was the most athletic person in the NFL, and this is during the off season, and I said Tyreek Hill, and I wanted so bad to draft him. You know, I was like, I told you, you know, if he comes to me in the second round, I had he's like one of the only receivers that I'll go get in the second round. But then as the season started, as preseason started to go, I kind of fell off of that, and I was like, maybe not. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for receivers to transition to teams. But it turned out that boy, it doesn't matter what team he's on. He just loves football, and he comes in that locker room, buys them boys a foosball table, and that's the stuff I'm talking about. You know, those players that get in there and they bring that juju with them, and he's definitely one of those players that I'm getting chill bumps talking about him, dude, because he's one of the greatest players that we've ever seen on a football field, man. I mean, he defeated all the odds. I mean, he's short, you know what I mean? And they said he couldn't jump and this, that, and the other, you know, and he's just good because Patrick Mahomes, and this, that, and he said Tua is the best quarterback. He's a deep ball, and nobody believed him, dude. That cat can ball, man. And I just had to shout out to Tyreek, dude. Like, I really wish I would have got some Reek. But yeah, dude, he's a good. And how many touchdowns does he have? He doesn't even. He's like one of the
Yeah,
top receivers with 2 touchdowns or something.
he got 3 touchdowns, and he's number one receiver. He has 1,104 reception yards already this year.
Yeah, yeah. Who
And
who who else can do that without that many touchdowns?
I'm trying to find the next best. As far as I scroll down in the leaderboards, the next best is Justin Jefferson at 867, and Hill is 1104 already.
And
We're
he's
not
two
even.
games.
We're at halfway
Yeah,
through the season right now, right at halfway. So he
yeah,
might get 2,000 this year.
yeah, dude. He's 2 games. You know, 200 something yards. 2 games ahead of the next best guy. You know, and that just kills me. Once he gets the ball in his hand, I mean, you see players catch the ball in open field and get caught all the time, but every time you see Reek get that thing and he just throws the deuces and can't catch him, can't do it.
Mm-hmm. And we're just gonna roll with this episode, man. We're just gonna
Let's
keep
roll it.
we're just
Let's
gonna
just
keep talking about it because we're on a good topic. I feel like quarterbacks. Why do you not draft them early? Do you have a reasoning behind it? Um is there any statistics you can bring to the table? I got a couple things that I want to say before I pass it to you because I
okay.
feel I'm the same. I don't draft
Okay.
quarterbacks early. It's like when I say early, I mean probably top 4 rounds. If you took Josh Allen this year, and if anybody's listening who took Josh Allen, I bet you won about 3 out of your first 4. but I bet you probably lost about 3 out of your last 4
Yeah.
because at the start of the year he was by far the best quarterback compared to the next guy. But
Right.
now if you took the risk and drafted Josh Allen in the first or second round, he's only 3 points better than Mahomes. He's only 15 points better than Burrow, and he's about 20 points better than Lamar, and about 30 points better than Hurts, and that's on the year. So when you're drafting a quarterback that early, you really have to have them carry your whole entire team. They have to be your team. I mean,
Yeah.
if you draft really well, I'm not saying that this is a no to never take a quarterback number one, because you can win. You can definitely win with having Josh Allen on your team, but you have to hit on your other draft picks, and it puts you at a disadvantage when you draft that number one quarterback and he doesn't perform head over heels better than the next, say, 5.
Right.
When somebody
Right.
got, if somebody drafted McCaffrey or, whatever. If they drafted McCaffrey, then went later and got Jalen Hurts, I would rather have that than Josh Allen. And then where did Jalen Hurts go? About the 6th round. So you're looking at like a Damian Harris or something.
Yeah.
Like I'll take that 2 over the
Exactly.
other 2. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And yeah, no, that's a good point, man, because everybody knows quarterbacks score you the most points throughout the year, right? But if you draft that quarterback in the first round and they end up not producing, then it puts you so far behind. It puts you so far back, and I can't really explain why I don't, but there's been very few teams that have won the championship with a premier quarterback.
Yeah.
And just perfect example right here. Geno Smith is quarterback 7. Did anybody draft Geno Smith?
No, nobody.
Who has him on their team right now?
You have him on both of your teams.
Exactly. And that's what I do with my quarterbacks. I get the running backs that are guaranteed and then find a quarterback that and I've done it year in, year out, dude. I found the quarterback that is gonna give me, top 12 performance, at the start of the season or in the middle of the season, and I understand the allure to getting those quarterbacks, but there's just uh running backs are just so much more important, and I don't know why or I don't know how, but it just works. It works out for me, and just like Kirk Cousins, man. I mean, he's top. Let me see. Let me go back to it.
He's 10. He's at number 10 right now, and
Yeah,
like,
he's top
and
12.
Tua's at number 9. He's another one that you could have got probably off of your waiver wire after the first week or two when you seen that offense clicking at the
Yeah,
beginning of this year. So
exactly, dude. Exactly, and it's 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 a thing, man. I mean, quarterbacks do score you the most points, but it's it comes down to. I guess it comes down to the players at position battles, like my running back 1 versus your running back 1. You know what I mean? My 2 versus your 2, my quarterback versus your quarterback. And say I got Kirk Cousins and you got Patrick Mahomes. Kirk Cousins gets 23 points and Patrick Mahomes gets 35 points. All right.
yeah,
And I got Derrick Henry and you've got Michael Carter. You know what I mean? Because you went and got, or that's not even, we'll even say, Leonard Fournette. Say you got a quarterback in the first round and got Leonard Fournette in the second round. Well, Derrick Henry puts up, 25 points, 30 points every game, and you're sitting with Leonard Fournette getting you 10, 15, and that's your starting running back. You know what I mean? And my quarterback's only losing, it just I don't know. I'm trying to explain it and I feel like I'm stumbling over it, but it just it's easier to find a good quarterback in the middle of the season than it is to find a running back. You pretty much know which running backs are gonna produce and are gonna be good in the coming into the season. I mean, look at ETN. Look at
Brees Hall before he
I
got
don't
hurt.
know.
Yeah, like Brees
Yeah,
Hall before
man.
he
I
got
mean,
hurt. Fournette, like you said, has been great. Aaron Jones,
yeah,
players like that you could have got in the second, third round. And I'm with you. I feel like you could find my prime spot is when I go into a draft, I'm like about sixth or seventh round. If a quarterback's sitting there that I wanted, which was like Jalen Hurts this year, I was all in. I was like, I want
yeah,
Jalen Hurts. And I'm not even going to lie, I wanted
yeah.
Russell Wilson. I was wrong.
Me too.
I
Oh, me,
did want Russ. But
me
that's
too.
it's not a good example, but there was a lot of good quarterbacks being drafted, in that range because like Herbert, he
But the
went
thing,
in like the second or third round, and Herbert's sitting at QB 11 right now. He's killing your team if
yeah,
you drafted him in the second or third round.
yeah.
And
You're exactly
Burrow,
right, dude. And
he was one of them that I
yeah,
wanted
dude.
like that late in the sixth round, and I usually leave one, if I can. I don't always want two quarterbacks, but I just want to tell everybody we're all this episode is redraft. We're not been talking about super flex or dynasty. This is one QB leagues. And I like to leave a high upside guy as my second quarterback. So that this year would have been like the Trey Lance situation. I wanted to get Lance super late if I could. Justin Fields was one that I wanted just to. The bad thing is I probably would have ended up dropping Justin Fields after his first couple weeks before he just started blowing up. But when you
Yeah,
draft
that's a
that
good point.
second quarterback, you want to get some kind of high upside rushing quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence, a young guy that can maybe win you a league. I mean, look at past years. My brother, Brad has won 2 championships straight in Yahoo, and
Yeah,
he won both times with his backup. He drafted Mahomes second. This was when Mahomes his very first year when he blew up.
that's
He
right.
drafted him second. The next year he comes in and drafts Lamar Jackson as his second quarterback, and
Yep,
that's Lamar Jackson's MVP year.
yep.
So these are the kind of players who win you your league when you're drafting, and you can find these diamonds in the rough at the quarterback position. I know you played against Howie last year. Do you remember who your quarterback was? You had Kyler, right?
I had Kyler last year. Yeah,
And he had Brady,
yeah,
and
and
I know he drafted Brady in like the ninth or so. It was
I got,
late.
and
Oh,
that's one of the times where I actually jumped and got a quarterback because I had a feeling, he was going to be quarterback QB1, and he gave me, he was hurt a little bit, but there was 3, 4, 5 games where he got like 40 something points, and it worked out for me, But I also had, a lot of help. My team was really healthy, and I still went and got my running backs first. I did. I'm trying to think what I did.
I know who you had. I know a lot of them who you had. You had Henry and Eckler. I know that.
No, I did Eckler and Mixon, and then I got Debo, and then Kyler, and then um,
Not sure.
I'm not sure, but I just like I said, I mean, you just got to secure that running back spot, and then if there's really a quarterback you feel like you want to go on them. But for the most part, I mean, like the year before that, I had Tannehill. Ended up with Tannehill when I came in second. Um, and then before that, I had like Roethlisberger. I mean, I just get these quarterbacks, and as long as your quarterback, as long as you find somebody that can get you 20 something points a week, that you'll be fine if you have everybody else around him, because it's hard to win that quarterback battle, and
Yeah.
every single week. It's not going to happen. Whereas it's easy to win the running back battle with Derrick Henry every single week.
Yeah, it is. And I don't want to be like on the podcast saying never ever draft a quarterback in the second or third. I'm a true believer in every single player during that draft has value. Some are overvalued, some are undervalued, and every player is draftable if they fall far enough. That's the way I look at it. Like, there's no player that I go into any draft and I say, I will absolutely not draft this guy no matter what. As much as I hate Amari Cooper and wasn't going to draft him at any point during the draft, if Amari Cooper was sitting there in the 10th round, I'd have drafted him.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just, a thing talking about the drafts and just how we approach the fantasy season, mid-season, before the year. And as of right now, mid-season, is there any, anything you want to tell like the folks out there that are, say they're 5-5, they're right, or we played 9 so far, say they're 4-5 like me. What advice you give somebody like me? How am I going to scratch and claw my way in the playoffs right now? What do I do, man? Just what the hell do I do?
There's no one solution is correct. It's different for everybody, but I think if you're sitting on the edge and you really need a win, and like you said, I mean, we're not talking about dynasty. We're just talking about straight redraft. Dynasty is totally different. But in a redraft league, if you're on the edge of winning and you got, one great running back, a good one, another, if you have 2 good ones, one in your flex, and the best thing to do right now is try to find what position that is not good. You know what I mean? And just
trade.
It's hard to say, but is the trade time. You know what I mean? You gotta get some trades going, dude. And sometimes, you might have to trade Saquon Barkley, especially if you're sitting with, Barkley and Eckler. Barkley's the best. You could trade.
You ain't losing with that roster. You might be sitting with you might be hitting with Saquon, Javonte Williams, and Elijah Mitchell when you drafted, and you'd be screwed. But I'll just go ahead and give my roster in Yahoo, and this is I'm just showing everybody that you can scratch and claw. You can find ways to win. I've been winning, and I look at my team every week, and I'm like, how in the hell am I winning any games? But as of right now, I got Burrow at quarterback. I got Waddle. He has been the only player. Him and Burrow have been the only 2 players on my team that's been in the lineup pretty much all year. Debo has been hurt. James Conner been hurt, been terrible. Jonathan Taylor hurt, terrible. Alan Lazard hurt. And I picked up Joshua Palmer. So I've just been the last couple of weeks, I've been going back and forth. I picked up Njoku as my tight end earlier this year off waiver wire. He's been great for me. I've started DJ Moore every now and again, and Darrell Henderson every now and again. Brian Robinson. It's just, I'm not even trying to give props or anything because my team is awful. I'm 4-5. I'm not great at all. But if you were in these shoes right here, just keep on hitting that waiver wire and do not be afraid. It is, we're halfway through the year. If a player sucks, drop them. If they've been sucking, and that's great advice. Drop them.
That's great advice, dude. Because a lot of people at this point in the year, they kind of give up and they kind of don't want to go pick up these players and don't want to keep grinding and don't want to keep just trying. You know what I mean? Picking up Deion Jones or Deion Jackson and putting them in, and going for Donovan Peoples-Jones and stuff like that right now. You know what I mean? A lot of people kind of give up, but if you're that person that, is still diligent and still on it every day. And the thing about fantasy football, you have to be on it. You know what I mean? You have to fucking cough up the money for NFL Red Zone. You have to fucking watch them, and you have to do it, dude, if you really want to win. And you just have to know these players. And as soon as the injury comes up, you have to go get the other guy. It's there's not one solution, but there's things, and a lot of it, is kind of common sense. But that is a good point. You just have to. You got to stay diligent, man, and you can scrape and claw your way through it, dude. In any given Sunday, dude, somebody can ball out, bro.
Well, all right, since we're talking about players to just cut bait with and to say, just get the hell off my team, I'm tired of seeing you. I got a couple names for you. I always know I like to play these little games. Like if anybody's listened to the podcast, Austin's always coming up with some kind of damn game to play with, like some topic to talk about. But here's a couple names. I know these people are severely rostered, and like in my opinion, get rid of all of them. You can find better. All right, if you've been holding on to, I think Eno Benjamin, you holding him?
Dropping them. I mean, I started them because I had to, but if Connor's there, he's not really going to do much.
I
You
know.
possibly hold on to him.
Yeah. I know we ain't seen much of the Denver running backs. Do you want Edmonds? Do you want Gordon? If you had to tell people if there's all right, you got the two quarterbacks the two running backs on that team. Which one you keeping, which one you cutting?
Well, you didn't even say the one that I would actually use, which is Latavius Murray.
I guess you gonna use him.
I mean, Gordon. I don't want anybody. Nothing. I don't want anybody on that team right now except for Jared Judy and Cortland Sutton.
To an extent.
To an extent. I mean, the running backs is so weird, but I think Latavius Murray.
Okay. So would you, if you had to, it's more of a, me and Ian talked about the waiver wire this week. It's very slim. It's super slim. But last week, I know I got caught up. I didn't start. I told the commissioner, I said, I'm not going to start a defense this week because I don't want to drop any of my guys. The bye weeks were that bad. My whole bench was buys. And if you're in that situation right here, would you do what I did and not start a defense, or would you drop Melvin Gordon?
I'd probably not start a defense because it's still, that the running back spot is still very open there. And it's hard to drop somebody like Melvin Gordon because he's shown us that he can do it, but it's just hard to
say.
It's hard to say. But yeah, it's especially coming now, like going into the playoffs, you don't really want to.
Yeah.
You don't really want to drop anybody, especially when your defense is only getting you, a lot of times on average less than 10 points a week.
Yeah. Well, I guess the criteria for this is just going to be, and like I said, I didn't start D. I let the commissioner know I don't ever want to condone not putting a lineup in. Like I'm always got to put a lineup in. But if it's a strategy standpoint and you let the league know and put in your league chat, hey, I don't want to drop nobody. I'm just going to leave my defense out because I had the Dallas Cowboys defense and I didn't want to drop them. I wanted to hold on to them. I was like, who am I going to pick up? The Raiders to play against the Jags and not score me but about 3 points, or just hold on to Dallas's defense who could win me a championship this year? So I was like, I didn't want to do it. But here's a couple names for you. If your bye weeks are tough, would you drop? Pacheco.
Yeah.
Would you go as a waiver wire pickup? If you had an open spot, would you go try and grab Pacheco?
Yeah.
I think he looks really good on the very limited work he gets. So if you got an open spot and you just need somebody, that's a good pickup this week. The waiver wire is pretty thin. He don't get that much work, but he's got to take over for Clyde at some point, right?
Some point, man. I mean, Clyde gets out there and he doesn't do anything, and Pacheco gets out there and this boy's returning punts. This dude, every time he gets the ball in his hand, he looks like a strong power back, and when he only gets a yard or two, he's mad. He gets up mad and he just wants to get the ball again, and running back is a young man's game, dude. If you need to drop somebody, you could drop Pacheco, but if you have an open spot, I'd grab him, because it's only a matter of time. But it's like you'll never know when to start him, dude. Dynasty, he's a better pickup. But yeah, on both of those, I'd drop him and I'd pick him up.
All right. My opinion on this one is a for sure drop. James Cook in redraft, I would cut bait.
Yeah.
Naeem
Yeah.
Hines, even. What would you with the Buffalo thing? You only had one game. He put up a goose egg. We didn't get much playing time. Do you want to hold Naeem Hines if your bye weeks are tough to see what Buffalo's offense is going to be like, or would you drop him?
Um, that's tough, dude. I'd hold on to him right now. Just just give him another week. Um, because he's pretty good pass catcher, and he's not a bad running back. But Buffalo is. I just hate having committee backs, but I'd hold on to him right now. I think unless Singletary gets injured, I don't think he's going to win you a league. But if you need somebody to get you just a few points, then yeah, you can start him. But
All right.
I'd hold on to him. I wouldn't drop him yet.
All right. Couple receivers. I'm gonna hit them real quick. If you disagree with anything I say, stop me. Robbie Anderson, Arizona, get out. Paris Campbell, you can go. Russell Gage and Julio, y'all can go. You see the door. I don't need you no more. Jarvis Landry, I'm
No.
tired of your injury. I'm tired of all the injury stuff going on. Elijah Moore, Drama Queen.
Drama.
You can go. Romeo Dubs, high ankle sprain. It's time to drop him. High ankle sprain, man.
Yeah. This year, yeah, he's done this year, yeah.
This one is super tough. Would you drop Brandon Cooks if you had to?
Well, I haven't really seen. Is he still sitting out?
He was sitting out that last game because he was mad that he didn't get traded. But on the year, this is a full PPR. Last 3 games, 6 points, 8 points, 11 points. It's tough with the situation they got going on in Houston. He hadn't really been getting targeted a whole bunch this year. The first 2 games was promising, 12 targets, 10 targets, but I'm thinking of teams who are bye week ridden, and if Brandon Cooks is sitting on their team, he's pretty tempted to drop, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you can hold on to him, I would, but he's one of those players where he could be great. You know what I mean? He could be good, but yeah, I think you could feel safe dropping him right now.
All right, MVS
Drop,
gone. Last 2 weeks he's had. I could have swore he had a dud. I'm looking at the thing right here, but that was the week before. Okay, he had a goose egg against Buffalo, then had 111 receiving yards against San Fran, had a bye, and then last week only had 1 target for 1 yard. I think Kadarius Toney coming in is going to eat into him, and I would just say,
and Juju is the obvious main guy there now.
Yeah, so I get rid of them. Here's a big name, Hunter Renfrow. Is it time?
Yeah, dude. I mean yeah. They just that team, they don't have anything going on, and Hunter hasn't been what we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas is done for the year, so go ahead and drop him.
Shout out to me for drafting Chris Olave in Dynasty.
You drafted all the rookies for this year, man. You're gonna be a pain in the ass for years to come. Tell them your running backs right quick in Dynasty.
Okay. So I got Jonathan Taylor, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce. Yeah, that's all the running backs. And then I got Traylon Burks, Stephon Diggs, Chris Olave, and Michael Pittman, who
sucks.
Yeah. Well, he only sucks because his fucking quarterback suck. But I don't know why y'all let me do that. I was like, I kept looking at you and being like, okay, I guess I'll get him.
Yeah, I thought I started off young and hot too with Najee and ETN. I'm happy about ETN right now, but Najee, ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to. I'm gonna have to
just
give it
think,
another year. I think I'm not
just
trying
think
to really ship him out.
good, and Brees Hall would have never got hurt. I mean, I'd probably be in first place.
You think? I don't. I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
you're gonna win anyway.
Nah, probably not because my quarterbacks aren't great, but that's enough.
Yeah, you treated dynasty like you Superflex dynasty league like you did a redraft league, and you kind of fucked up with your
Well, I didn't
quarterback.
draft him. Okay.
What'd you say? I missed you.
I, I didn't draft to win this year. I got running backs that I can trade for a great quarterback. I just got to figure out which quarterback that's going to be.
It ain't Kenny Pickett, Ian.
It,
You shouldn't
shut
have
up.
done that. You should
That,
not have done that.
I know.
Dak Prescott is much better than Kenny Pickett, everybody. Don't trade Dak for Kenny Pickett.
Dak in the first rounder, dude. What the fuck?
Don't ruin your credibility on the show if you say that. Everybody's gonna be like, this guy's an idiot. But
Dude,
we all do some stupid stuff, man.
no, it wasn't stupid, dude. It was Kenny Pickett came in. It was his first game there. And in my eyes, I wanted to get him before he balled out with a great offense. And I still think he's going to be good, but it's just a wait and see game. But anyways, continue.
All right. I think everybody knows every single one of our teams. We done shouted them out tonight and told you, kind of tried to tell some folks like what they need to do, and then we tell them our teams are like, holy crap, their teams are awful, or holy crap, their team is stacked. Like we got some good ones, we got some bad ones, but I'm sure everybody out when you play in enough leagues and you really go in, and I'm one of them guys. Like I don't care if I'm in 3 or 5 or 1 league. All of my teams are gonna look the same because I pick the guys that I want during the draft, and sometimes it works out great. I'm gonna win every league, or I'm gonna come in last place in every league. So
And right now, I'm gonna do a hot take, and okay, my hot take is Dameon Pierce, rookie of the year. And if he doesn't get it, I don't know who should, man, because he is so underrated, and he's been playing on a team that won one game, but he's been holding a lot of teams together. If you got him as your RB2, 3, like you're happy. You know what I mean? And I really think he should be in the running for rookie of the year. You know what I mean? And should be the front runner. I mean, Kenneth Walker is great, but he's only been playing 4 games.
Yeah, I agree. This is kind of the Texans. Nobody pays attention to them, and like I'm one of them. I didn't really pay that much attention, and they played on prime time one time, and I called in the next morning. I said, "Damn, Dameon Pierce is good as shit. Like he's just running over everybody. He's great. I'm looking at his fantasy output. He scored 4 points and 8 points the first 2 weeks. But after that, 16, 25, 20, 15, 14, 13. I mean, this is a RB2, RB1,
all day.
Borderline RB1, RB2 for your team that you drafted. And the rookie running backs have been outstanding this year.
They really have.
They really been. I mean, I had to clear my throat. Shoot. Like I was trying to say with them rookie running backs, I'll even count Travis Etienne as a rookie this year. It's his first year. He missed all of last year. And a tip for Dynasty for all y'all out there, Ian got all them rookie running backs because I've played redraft my whole life. You know, Matt's the Dynasty guy, Chris, Dunk, they're the Dynasty folks. And I went, and me and Phil are the redraft folks. And me and Phil went into that draft saying, I want to win it this year. And I don't want to kill myself for the future, but I really want to go for it this year. So we'll keep y'all updated on how that works. My point of view, if I win 1 year, I'm set money-wise for the next 12. So I'll just be good. I'll do what I can. I feel like you can trade them big names. Like if you're sitting with Derrick Henry right now and you're 1-8, you can trade him for a first rounder easily, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you should. You don't want to hold on to an older guy. If you're not a contending team and you can trade them and get something good. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it is, hey, if I fail, during the off season, I'll have to go one direction or the other. I can try to ship off like my Fournette, my McCaffrey, my Cooper Cup, players like that, and load up on picks or young guys. But
Yeah, dude. Honestly, right now, that's kind of a good point, and I'm gonna reiterate on that. Like, if somebody came to me with the running backs that I have, Taylor, Walker, Brees Hall, Damian Pierce, Josh Jacobs. I forgot I said Josh Jacobs. If somebody came to me and offered me Derrick Henry for Damian Pierce and a first round draft pick, I would probably trade that right now. And that's the thing, like you're saying, like that's one player you can get off of. That's a good player that is a little older, and try to get some of these rookies if you're losing. If you need to win now, like I possibly could win out if I had somebody like him. But
you would take that right now if I offered you Derrick Henry.
I probably would because of the other running backs that I have. Like if I put Derrick Henry with that, I think I would be fine. If you offered me, Henry for Pierce in a first rounder, I'd probably do that.
Well, I'll offer you Najee for Pierce in a first rounder.
You've already tried that.
I know I offered Najee for Kenneth Walker before Kenneth Walker blew up, but Ian wasn't falling for it. I still should have I think I should have took Kenneth Walker for CD though. I should have gave you CD and took Kenneth Walker from you, I think.
Yeah, man. And honestly that wouldn't I was about to say honestly that wouldn't have been bad for either one of us, but
it's definitely close. You're gonna have to get in with us when we do our dynasty rankings. I know Matt is like at the bit. He's like, I can't wait for the off season to get these dynasty rankings out. I love these dynasty rankings, and I'm with him, man. It's gonna be a first for me. And rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, all that shit. There's gonna be so much different that goes into the dynasty aspect of everything compared to the redraft. The redraft rankings are great, but dynasty is a different beast. And
I kind of like it.
What'd you say? I missed you.
I said it's a whole different animal, man, and I kind of like it, dude. I like the dynasty thing, and it takes a different mindset, and not everybody's got the thing I got up here between my two. The
unibrow.
Yeah, I can't play football, but I'm good at the fake stuff. So,
and like Ian, and we were talking after the first Zoom call, we had to start over another one, and we were talking, and he said, like Ian's a drummer, and he said, if somebody asks me how to play the drums, he's like, I don't know how to tell people to play the drums. I just know how to play the drums. But he was telling me, it's great that we got some of this out because we don't really think about how we play fantasy. We just do it. It's almost like we've been playing for 15 years or so, and we don't really think about why we do what we do. But it's good to get it out there in the open of, hey, this is some good reasoning behind why we approach certain situations and trades and free agency, stuff like that, and even the draft. But we're going to hit y'all with some news. I forgot to do that first. That's usually the first thing we always try to get to before everything starts to keep everybody updated with what's going on. Ian, you got anything on the top of your head, brain, that you want to talk about with the news?
Yeah, dude. So DeAndre dude, I did. Go ahead. I can't not remember what I was going to talk.
Oh, I got it right here. I got it. This isn't really news, but I wrote it down in the news section. But if you're an owner of DeAndre Swift, this isn't an injury thing, but I just want everybody to know it's one of the stats that stuck out to me and Ian. He only played 16% of snaps last week.
That's right.
I got him in one of my redraft leagues, and I'm benching him for Rondale Moore this week. I gotta. It's kind of one of them things like with the Dobbins thing that me and Matt talk about, and shoot, any of the players. If you ain't on the field, we don't want anything to do with you for the time being. I want to see it to believe it, and unfortunately, with DeAndre Swift, he's been out for a while. The coach and staff has said that they want to really ease him back in, and that's just one player. It wasn't really news. It was just something that caught our eye. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit y'all with a couple news tidbits right quick. Josh Allen, he's being evaluated for a UCL injury. I really don't know what that is, but I did. Yeah. What'd you say?
Well, what is? Yeah, I was about to say. What? Never heard of that. That's something new because he's an alien. Okay, that makes sense because Josh Allen is an alien. He's made in the lab along with DK Metcalf and Derrick Henry, and they apparently a new tendon called the UCL or ligament. I guess it'll be a ligament.
Yeah, I know L stands for ligament, but what I read about it is something in the elbow that it's what pitchers have to get Tommy John for, Tommy John surgery. So they said if it's like a sprain or a strain, I don't know, one of them two words, that he should be okay and it's just pain management. But if it comes back that it's more serious, it's going to be a extended time, absence. So I would definitely start making backup plans if you can. If you got an empty spot, not an empty roster spot, but if you got somebody you want to drop, somebody that we talked about earlier in this episode, Scantlin, pop his ass off your team, pick up Jared Goff against Chicago this week or something like that. Tom Brady, even he's probably on most people's waiver wires. Just start planning for it because he might be out for 1 week. He might not be out at all. He might be out for 6 weeks. Nobody knows yet, but we should know something as the week progresses. You got anything on that one, Ian? Anything to say about that one?
No, I think you covered it, dude. Yeah, I mean there's not too much on the waiver wire, and I mean you just kind of gotta pay attention, dude. There's only a couple players. If Jeff Wilson's still out there, then you're probably in a peon league, and you definitely need to go pick him up. But no, I think I think you covered most of what we needed to touch on that point.
All right. Well, yeah, like you said, and this is how we do on this show. We just go with whatever at the time, man. We'll just break it. Like we don't have breakdowns like Matt said. We ain't got something that's like waiver wire time. Like we don't we ain't got no breaks like that. So we just talk about whatever at any time. So but to continue on with the news after that one, our favorite quarterback in the league, Sam Ehlinger, is going to start again in week 10. This is some big news. I didn't even write down, but saying that the Colts fired everybody. They fired Frank Reich. If the owner could have fired himself, he would have fired himself.
You're stupid.
But yeah, I really thought they hired Jeff Saturday, who is one of the great centers of all time. So I was talking to you earlier about it today. If Jonathan Taylor's healthy, maybe with a offensive lineman head coach, you got to think he wants to run the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, dude. I didn't know they picked up Saturday, and Quentin Nelson's still healthy in there.
No,
right?
as the coach, Jeff Saturday is the coach.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's the coach for the Colts. He's been out of the league for a little while.
Yeah. Right, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. But as a coach, from a coaching standpoint, I think they might want to run the ball. But Sam Ehlinger is going to start. Matt Ryan was terrible, but I think they'd be better off with Ryan in there, or even Nick Foles. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to see. They're giving up already and want to see what they got in this young guy. So
it's hard to, I mean, the Rams did it, and the Bucks did it, but it's really hard to bring in a veteran quarterback and have the entire team flow with what they got going on, plus having somebody like Jonathan Taylor and you want to give him the ball multiple times a game. It's really hard to do that. And so that just goes to show what the Rams and the Bucks did is incredible, you know. And Matt Ryan's no Tom Brady, you know, and Matt Stafford's an amazing quarterback as well. But you know, I thought the Colts, the
They went
last
all
year,
in.
yeah, well, I thought the Colts the last year or two were a very competitive team for the Super Bowl, but come the end of the year, they can never figure it out.
No, I'm with
Titans,
you on that.
the Titans always,
D. Henry,
yeah. I
D.
mean,
Henry, and they got a really good coach too, and
yeah,
Vrabel. I wish the
yeah.
Packers had that coach, man. They play so dang physical. The Titans are they're they're still fun to watch. Like they're not explosive, but they're just like hit you in the mouth, and
Or they
I
that
love
game
that about them.
and that game Sunday night came down to that physicality, dude. And dude, could you believe Patrick Mahomes 68 passes?
But yeah, I heard something today that he's on pace to break the yards record if he keeps doing what he's doing this year.
Wow.
So Holmes is getting hot. But back to some of the news. We're gonna hit this quick. We got about 7 minutes on this last little call right here. So we're gonna hit these quick and just say bye to the people. But PJ Walker is expected to start for Thursday night. Take that as you will. I like it better for DJ Moore with him in there than Baker. But Sam Darnold has got activated off the IR. But like I said, the coaching staff named PJ Walker to start. So Sam Darnold might be a thing later. We talked about Romeo Dubs earlier, high ankle sprain. He's going to be out for a while. And Aaron Jones, he had a scare of a ankle injury. They thought it might be a high ankle sprain, but looks like he's going to be okay, and he could play this week. So definitely keep an eye out on that one.
Yeah, and if he doesn't go, maybe if you're really desperate, picking up Hill, Kylan Hill.
You got to start AJ Dillon, I guess, too. Like Aaron Jones gone, you're starting AJ Dillon for
Oh,
sure.
for yeah, for sure.
I think the
I mean,
Packers play the Cowboys this week. That's not going to be good either way.
yeah,
But I guess you have to start them. Yeah. What'd you say?
bench your Packers this week. I hate to say it, but bench your.
What about Lazard? Lazard's been so solid all year.
He's the only. I'd say he's the only Packer you can start this week, even over Aaron Rodgers.
Would you start DJ Moore against the Falcons or Alan Lazard against the Cowboys?
Ooh,
I got that I got that problem.
uh, I'd probably go. I'd probably go Lazard.
Yeah, I think so too. He's still the only guy. Yeah, he's like
Just
the
because
only.
well, PJ got benched in the middle of the week last week, and I like PJ Walker. But I don't know. I think he might be PJ might be. You know, it's not like he's brand new quarterback. You know, he's been there a couple years, and he kind of does the same thing every year, and he does good, and then he does bad, but I think he's one of those quarterbacks where you have to build around him, just like Justin Fields. He was terrible for a while. You know what I mean? It took them a while to get him going like he wanted to, and now he's got the Lamar Jackson treatment, and he balled out. And so I think I'd have to go Lazard.
All right, that's what I got in there right now anyway because he's been solid and DJ Moore's kind of been so up and down. But you got anything you want to say to the folks? You know, before we go.
Man, no, not really, dude. Just have fun. You know what I mean? Have fun with it, and don't let it get you down. And you know, fantasy football, it can go either way, dude. And just stay diligent, man. Just keep fighting, and there's always next year. You know, and if you give up, then you're a quitter, and nobody really wants you on their fucking squad. So
That's some good words there, Ian.
hey,
That's
word
a
wise.
Oh yeah, you know how people are nowadays, dude. You can't be saying stuff like that. People are real thin skinned, man. You can hurt people's feelings real easy. You got to be, you just can't be doing that stuff, man. Not in this
Dude.
world.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. That's why I'm not the host. See, the host can't do that, but the guest speaker can, do that, and then you have to deal with the question and assault later, and I can just sit at my house and win.
I don't think any of our listeners that I mean, I ain't gonna speak for anybody. If we ever say anything like that, just get over it, man.
Yeah,
Just
man,
get
get
over
over it, dude. It's a world full of weak people, dude, and if you're offended, then you're the problem. You know what I mean?
it.
Uh,
This
all
podcast
got
just don't get offended easy, but we here to help all y'all guys, man. We here to help y'all win y'all's leagues. Like Ian said, do never give up. Y'all
don't
keep
give up.
hitting that waiver wire, keep offering trades, annoy the hell out of all y'all commissioners and owners of the other teams in the league by blowing up their inbox trying to get trades out. You know, it
Yeah, man.
takes a lot to win.
And also commissioners give your people in the lower brackets a reason to keep competing. Offer them something for winning the consolation bracket, and give a whoever wins sixth place or seventh place, the first round draft pick and stuff like that. You got to find ways to keep people involved.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with all that. I think we got an episode we recorded way back when we hadn't dropped yet about just how to make fantasy leagues better and funner and everything like that. So we'll probably drop that at some point. But man, everybody, we got to get Matt back on here. Matt's the dude. Matt's the hostess with the mostest. Like I said, can't wait to get that boy back on here. That's my boy right there, man. We go at it and we put into work. Everybody at the Cruise Dynasty podcast, get my cousin in on here. Love all y'all guys. We have such a blast doing it, and that's why we do it. But tell your friends, 5-star review, the Cruise Dynasty podcast. Find us on Spotify. Matt got the other stuff. I don't think he said not iHeart, but Apple Music. Yeah, we're on Apple Music. We're everywhere. Hopefully we're going to be all over the place. But everybody have a good one. Good luck to everybody this week. We'll be back on, probably record tomorrow or the day after, coming to drop some of the matchups this week and hit the week outlook for all these players, who to start, who to sit, good stuff like that. But everybody, appreciate y'all for listening. We out.
Deuce, peace.